Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. All right, I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Well, actually, keep them open for the visuals, but mentally, I want you to picture a massive college campus. It's completely swallowed by the darkness of midnight. You're standing in this abandoned, dead quiet corridor up on the third floor, and as these heavy wooden doors creak open, whoosh, you're immediately hit by this freezing wave of damp air, and that unmistakable, suffocating smell of rotting paper and decaying books. You know the smell. It's a place that has been quite literally sealed shut for over a decade, and today we are going to find out exactly why.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are looking at the central mystery of an absolutely chilling animated story, and this was brilliantly brought to life by the YouTube channel Scary Pumpkin. If you follow them, you know they do great work. Anyway, the setup is this. Every single year, this terrifying, unspoken legend gets passed down like a dark inheritance from the senior students to the freshers. The golden rule? Whatever you do not go near the third floor library. Not in the daytime and absolutely under no circumstances at night. There are no official warning boards, no printed notices. It's just this deep, infectious fear that keeps everyone away. Well, everyone, except for a student named Abe.
Now, Abe, he is definitely not your typical college student. While all his classmates are paralyzed by these campus rumors, Abe is looking up at that third floor with pure, unfiltered curiosity. And this mindset actually comes directly from his grandfather. His grandfather was a traditional village tantric, basically an occult practitioner who spent his entire life dealing with the supernatural. And he used to tell Abe, not every shadow is a ghost and not every fear is a lie. I love that. Because of this, Abe fundamentally believes that fear is just a byproduct of ignorance. If there's something up there, he wants to know what it is. Because, let's face it, just ignoring the unknown doesn't actually make it disappear, right?
Section 1. The College Legend, Uncovering a Legacy of Fear.
So when Abe and his friends decide to take their questions directly to the college administration, they hit a massive brick wall. And that wall is the college principal, Dr. Sharma. But after some pushing, Dr. Sharma finally reveals the origin of this lockdown, and it all comes back to this number, 12. Exactly 12 years ago, a junior librarian named Shekhar was working the night shift. Well, one morning, they found him lying completely unconscious inside the library. His eyes were wide open, locked in just sheer terror, but he literally couldn't speak. Before he eventually quit a few weeks later, Shekhar kept whispering this one horrifying detail. He said whenever he was alone in the library, an unseen presence would watch him read. And right after that incident, the administration just slapped a heavy padlock on the doors and sealed the library forever.
So the crucial point is we're seeing an absolute collision of two completely different philosophies here. On one side, you have Abai. He's arguing that the campus is already infected with fear, right? And the only way to actually cure it is to understand what's really happening inside that locked room. But on the other side, you've got Dr. Sharma and the administration. They firmly believe that some questions simply do not have answers. To them, poking a sleeping beast is only going to endanger the students. So they shut the conversation down entirely. They even threaten severe disciplinary action if Abai or his friends ever go near that third floor. But as you might guess, that absolutely did not stop them.
Section 2. The Investigation, 3 Nights in the Dark.
Right, so completely defying the principal's strict warnings, Abe sneaks a parapsychologist onto the campus in the dead of night. Enter Dr. Siddharth Mehta. And this is where things get really fascinating. Dr. Siddharth approaches this sealed library equipped with an absolute arsenal of modern science. We're talking EMF meters to track electromagnetic fields, thermal sensors hunting for cold spots, digital audio recorders to catch unseen frequencies, the whole shebang. But as we'll see through Abe's background, these modern, high-tech tools are soon going to intersect directly with ancient occult traditions. Salt lines for protection, candles, Sanskrit mantras. It turns out both systems are really just different languages trying to map the exact same terrifying unknown.
Okay, so Dr. Siddharth sets up his gear, and over the course of 3 consecutive nights, the entity's response drastically escalates. Night 1, the second they step inside, the EMF meter goes absolutely wild. Beep, beep, beep. The library's tube light flickers on, instantly dies, and it completely drains their flashlights with it. Then, night 2, things get physical. Books literally start throwing themselves off the shelves. One of the students pulls out a phone to try and film it, but the battery plummets from 20% to absolutely 0 in a matter of minutes. It's like the entity is actively feeding on their energy. By night 3, they arrive to find the heavy wooden furniture completely scattered across the room. A freezing, incredibly heavy presence actively surrounds them, physically forcing the whole team to retreat. The spirit wasn't just active anymore. It was getting highly, highly hostile.
Section 3. The escalation. The haunting spreads campus-wide. Here's the terrifying part. By forcing that library door open over those 3 nights, Abai and the doctor didn't just observe the entity. No, they woke it up. And because of that, the terror was unleashed into the wider college campus. The haunting rapidly spreads, and suddenly, students are reporting these horrifying anomalies everywhere. I mean, dark shadows are spotted just standing motionless in the hostel windows. Loud footsteps start echoing behind the locked doors of the campus washrooms. In the dead of night, the chilling sound of a girl violently crying echoes across the grounds. It gets so bad that even the teachers start noticing this terrifying sensation of unseen entities just sitting quietly on the back benches of their empty classrooms. At this point, the administration realizes the fear can no longer be hidden. The danger is completely out in the open.
Section 4. Uncovering the dark truth, a voice from the void.
Now completely cornered by the sheer volume of terrified students, the administration does the only thing they can. They desperately bring in someone who speaks the entity's language, a traditional tantric named Satyadev Baba. And what's really interesting to see here is the immediate read this seasoned practitioner gets. It's chilling. The moment he steps onto the campus and approaches that 3rd floor, he feels it, that freezing heavy air. He doesn't even need to look at Dr. Siddharth's blinking scientific instruments. Baba just turns to the terrified principal and says, "The spirit isn't scared, she is angry."
So Baba steps right up to the open library door. He draws a boundary of salt, and he begins chanting ancient Sanskrit mantras. Instantly, the room temperature plummets. And at that exact moment, Dr. Siddharth's scientific EMF meter just maxes out, whining incredibly loudly. And then, captured perfectly on the digital audio recorder, cutting right through the ancient chanting, is a clear, broken female voice speaking directly from the void. And she says, "I was bound here."
Which leads us to a massive question, doesn't it? We finally have an answer. There is an entity, and she is bound to the 3rd floor. But the really terrifying question remains, why? Why was she trapped in this damp, rotting room for over a decade? And why was she so incredibly enraged?
Well, the spirit begins to communicate her horrific truth, and it brings us to another crucial number, 20. It turns out, 20 years ago, this entity was a female librarian working in that exact room. She had formerly complained about inappropriate behavior from a very powerful college professor, but instead of protecting her, the administration blamed her. And one night, she was brutally murdered right there in the library. To protect the college's reputation, the administration actually covered up the murder. They labeled it a suicide. There was no justice, no investigation, and crucially, no proper final rights.
Section 5. Closure. Justice and final liberation.
And this brilliantly illustrates how, with the horrific truth finally brought into the light, ancient tradition was meticulously used to heal a modern injustice. At exactly 2:30 a.m., right in the center of that haunted library, Satyadev Baba constructs a sacred fire pit, a Havan Kund. With Dr. Siddharth's audio recorder actively running in the background, Baba explicitly chants the victim's true name. He's finally acknowledging her real identity. He offers symbolic new clothes and fresh water and carefully performs the complete final rites that she was so brutally denied 20 years ago. This officially severs her painful ties to the physical world.
And then, just silence. The suffocating, heavy air in the library suddenly lifts. The wildly blinking EMF meter on Dr. Siddharth's table finally flatlines, dropping to absolute zero. The digital recorder catches nothing but the quiet crackle of the sacred fire. After 20 long, painful years, the restless spirit was finally liberated. The nightmare of the 3rd floor was completely, finally over.
It really leaves us with this final, provocative thought, doesn't it? We spend so much of our time running from the shadows, locking doors, and passing down these legends of terrifying monsters. But as Abe's grandfather so wisely noted, fear is often just a symptom of what we refuse to understand. So the next time you hear a terrifying urban legend, or you feel that urge to look away from the dark, ask yourself, are there really monsters hiding in there? Or are they just tragic truths waiting for someone brave enough to bring them into the light? Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer. Keep questioning the unknown, and I'll catch you in the next one.